what's going on inside their minds, what's going on inside their spirits, what's really happening, like what's really going on with you, bro. Like even in my clique, you know, my group of best friends, even I see like we kind of struggle with talking amongst ourselves, like what are we struggling with as men. And it's one of the things I talk about on my channel is that most men are raised in that fashion. They're raised in that mindset that if you express yourself, that expression is a sign of weakness. You're acting like a girl. Why are you crying like a girl? You know, stuff like that. So a lot of not even fathers, but a lot of households tell their boys it's not okay to cry. And if you got a problem with something, suck it up. Be a man. That's a huge be a man thing, right? So we're literally raised in that mindset, right? And then we become an adult. You're hardened in that mindset. So now, so when you're in a relationship or even a friendship, it's hard for a lot of men to discuss their true feelings, their inner feelings, because they were raised that, you know, you're weak if you show that expression, you know. So that's a real big problem.
So it's like the socialization of men, like how men are socialized as boys. Like, hey, boys don't cry. You don't share your feelings. Oh, you're being a punk or whatever. Like those derogatory statements. So by the time the boy becomes a man, he's been conditioned not to talk, to internalize everything.
Yep. And if you're not raised by, you know, good men, if you're not raised by mature or stellar men, you won't know that that's the wrong way to think. You'll keep thinking like, how would you know that is wrong if nobody tells you? You know what I'm saying? So we have to be there. We have to have some kind of mentors. Some mentorship is really important, especially in the Black society of manhood. Like there has to be leaders out there that's going to tell you like, hey, what you're doing is not the right way. Let me show you. Like, don't preach to me. Let me show you how it's done, you know? But a lot of our Black men, a lot of men, we don't have that, you know? So I was fortunate enough to have like, you know, a pastor, my grandfather, my uncles to show me the way. Even when my friends, my male friends showed me at school, like, hey, this is the cool way to do things, you know, push drugs. But when I went home, when I went to church, they would say, hey, don't do that. I've been here way longer than your friends. And let me show you what a real man does, you know?
So I guess then, Sealz, one of the questions I want to ask you is going back to internalization, because what I'm witnessing, or that I'm starting to realize now, men that do express their feelings, oh, you acting light skinned, or, you know, these phrases that we hear, like you're being sensitive, but then men have to exert that energy somehow, whether if it's they become promiscuous, they get into drugs or alcohol, anger issues, because all these other emotions, whether it's anger, shame, maybe they had trauma when they were young, that energy has to go somewhere. Maybe they're overachievers as far as working longer hours than normal. Maybe they go to the gym and they take it out there and they're just, you know, hiding behind their aesthetics, or you have all these degrees. Like there's a way of compensating to kind of mask the true feelings. So how do men break that cycle of there's nothing wrong with being successful, but not letting success be your mask for your emotion?
You know, one thing I highly recommend is exposure, being exposed to new things. When we're in the same society for most of our lives, we're used to the same things. So if we see other men doing the same thing to express themselves and frustration or whatever the case may be, we tend to do the same thing. You know, oh, this dude, he's frustrated at this other guy, so he's going to go fight him or he's going to go shoot him. So if I feel the same way, I'm going to do the same thing because everyone's doing it, right? But then if you have exposure to new things, new societies, new peoples, new cultures, newness, you'll see that there's different ways of expressing your frustrations or expressing whatever you're going through, you know? So exposure is a big thing. And it goes back to mentorship. How can we know if we don't know? You know, we have to be shown the way. There's healthier ways to have an outlet.
Yeah. You know? Like the normalization of having feelings. And that's one of the things I'm working to do here. of course, I have Black women come on. We discuss what we discuss, but I do want my podcast and my space to be a space that's, from a communication standpoint, a place that's safe for Black men like yourself and other Black men to come on and discuss whatever, and it's not weaponized. And what I've seen too, that when men and women are in relationships and then the men get into a space with their women where they feel comfortable enough to open up and talk, and then there's a disagreement, the man or the woman, particularly, some women will come back and take that secret, air quotes, and then they turn it into a weapon against him. And then that's wounding to the man. And then she's like, oh, I was just mad or whatever. And it's like, but you went below the belt. And so now your man, your husband, your boyfriend, whomever will not open up and talk to you because it's like he remembers. And even if it's not a disagreement, but just speaking without thinking, and you're saying something and not realizing that it hurt him, and you just go on like it's the norm, and they're just like, why are you so quiet? What's wrong? Nothing. And can you kind of unpack that a little bit?
So that goes back to men being fearful of expressing themselves as well, because a lot of men have been damaged, and they don't know how to communicate even that. This situation happened to me. Like someone you love and trust, you tell them, things in confidant, and then something happens that doesn't go their way and they use it against you. Like that is one of the worst things you could do to a man. And then if one of the worst ways you can lose a man's trust right there. And not only doesn't affect him in that situation, but it might affect him forever. Like even in all his future relationships. Now someone else has to get cut because he's bleeding right now. Because of the damage he has right now, it's going to affect his whole future. You know what I'm saying? It's like an example when you break a mirror and then you put all the pieces back together. Yeah, it's now a hole, but now it has cracks all over the mirror. It's not the same. It's whole, but it's not the same. So that's a great way to lose a man's trust.
Wow.
And another reason why men secretly fear expressing themselves.
So do you think men should create environments, and be a landing pad for each other? Like, how can other men do that where you're not antagonized or your sexuality is not being questioned or challenged because you're expressing your feelings? Like, how can other men, particularly Black men, do that and break that taboo, that stigma?
Good question. I feel like, once again, us brothers, we have to be honest with each other. We have to communicate with each other. We have to create groups. One thing I really respect and admire with women is that women are quick to make groups. They are quick to come together for a cause, or they're quick to even have fun with each other. You know what I mean? They're good to have, to make trips with. Like women, they come together for whatever. Men, on the other hand, we should be better at it, because when it comes to certain things like sports or certain activities, we'll come together for that. But what about for the betterment of our community? What about for the betterment of our families? We need to talk to each other. We need to learn from each other. Communicate with each other. Communication, number one thing. We have to learn how to be vulnerable, be open, because if we don't, men are going to stay the same as a whole. Women are quick to tell them how they feel. Like overall, women, like, they'll tell you how you feel. Like no problem. But men, we have that tough mindset, that hard exterior. Like, oh no, I can't. We got to let that go. Egos are number one thing holding us back.
You said the ego?
Yes.
Why?
Because we hold on to the ego like it's making us better, but it's not. Egos, it's only attributing to our external look. It's only attributing to our aesthetics. Because when a man goes home and he goes in that room alone, he closes that door, he's probably crying. He's probably upset. He's probably frustrated because
crying.
Yo, you'll be surprised. You'll be surprised how many men are
crying in the shower.
No, to themselves. Hey, it doesn't matter. In a car, like,
wow,
men go through a lot of things.
Yeah.
But then when he comes back,
what? That's true. But you think about it, the pressure, and I look at it as far as like with Black men, like you have just the pressure of being a Black man. Yeah. Then you have to provide, and then this false stereotype of what a Black man should be. It's like you can't even be yourself because society says, well, Black men are this way and Black men are that way, externally and internally,
Yeah.
you know, and if things fall out, it's on you.
Yeah.
That's a lot of pressure. Then you have to add in systemically what Black men go through on top of that.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah. And you got to understand, like, men are held to a high standard. Like, we have to hold the family. We have to hold the household. We have to take care of everything. We have to be the protector. And for a lot of men, if you're not ready for that pressure, you can't handle that pressure. So now you're in your car, you're in your isolation moment, and you're just going crazy. But when you walk through those doors in your house, in your home, and your family's there, you have to, you gotta put on the strong face. You gotta put on the front, like you're okay. So that, and this is something that's not talked about enough with men.